Welcome everyone to the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity workshop. This is day 3, the afternoon session for Tuesday, July 4th, 2017. And we will continue from our morning session. I believe we have Mr. Keshe. Is he available now, or not sure if he's...
I'm here.
Go. Hi, Mr. Keshe.
Hi, good afternoon. Good day to you. It's a wonderful day. And in so many ways, we have to see into what extent we can expand our knowledge. This morning, we listened to a lot of different ways of connection with souls and what we have and why we connect the teaching, the soul, and the peace together. And in so many ways, it's beautiful when I listen to Caroline because she brings a new dimension, a different dimension into teaching. It's in a way what we miss in teaching is female touch, a touch of care and a touch of understanding, which a lot of us don't look at it the way they do, as what we call the mothers or as partners or whatever we shape or name we put to it. What I would like to ask those of you who are present, a simple question. If you were in my place, and if you had an insight into how man can change through the knowledge of sharing, how would you handle the world peace? What would have you done? What would have been your decision? How would you approach the world leaders? Or do you see the world leaders as an obstacle? Or do you see the world leaders as a tool? Do we accept the world leaders because they have the power of legislation? And how many of the world leaders are just enough to be able to be the, what I call, what we look for as just leaders to be there? What is your opinion? How would you handle it? What would have you done if you were in the place of me and the foundation? Would you go for the soul of the man, or would you go for a pen of the man?
Can I speak, Mr. Keshe?
Pardon?
Can I speak?
Yes, that's what we asked.
Okay. Sir Jalal. And this, I have questioned myself so many times. And I found, and also I send you a message on that. I find that I will speak in their language. Their language is the power. And they listen only who have the power. Even the mankind, they learned for all this history, thousands of years. But we live in a place which the power is controlling, not the beauty, not the love, because they don't know it, and they cannot give something they don't have. So if I'm you, if I am capable, I can open the hand for the gold. And when they see that a simple man who can do gold, and then all the people, they will notice, they will open their eyes, and when they come and touch this virus, they will change. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
There was a discussion and there is a discussion going on in the background that one of the leading nations in the world has used our technology and creating gold, or grabbing gold, or extracting gold. And even I heard 800 ton of it was dumped in Hong Kong very recently. Is there a truth to it? Or have the nation have started using gold to suppress or create new conditions? Is the gold the answer? I was explaining to Armin a few days ago how easily gold can be made, and people still don't do it. Is gold just a gimmick? Is gold just a process that we have to understand will not change anything? You got to understand how much of it can we put in the market? What about it? How much we can create that it will change? I teach you to make gold, and you walk down the road and you start making it. It's so easy. It's amazingly easy. Total cost for you to, let's say, half a kilo of gold a day will be what? $20? If gold become common commodity, now you can move to brass. And then you want to produce platinum. Two of the knowledge seekers, or 2 or 3 of them, have shown this. But you are blind to it because you decided to be blind to it. Or the knowledge didn't get through. If the process and the program is to create gold, so we start teaching.
If I could say something,
Yes.
I think we would start.
Can you introduce yourselves, who you are, please?
Yes, my name is Mark Erb. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia. And I would introduce to the leaders a concept of the end state, which is autonomous small communities that all have a liveliness for production or contribution to society. And there will be a transition to that is the most difficult that they can participate in, or choose not to participate in it, in which case we know where they stand.
What does that mean? Can you enlighten us?
It means they have an opportunity, they know the end state, they're going to believe that the people of Earth are going to that end state once they know what that end state is and how well it suits them to have an autonomous small community that has a livelihood and a global communications capability and a way to barter or trade what they have with those who need it. This is a clear vision of the transition would be
that they're invited to the innocuous setting. They can have a safe response, but they're going to be made to believe that this is the end state and that we are going to transition to it, and that transition starts on August 3rd or 4th, something like that.
I still don't understand. Maybe you explained it in a different way.
Okay, I see people having the capability to make their own food or to get their own sustenance or energy, their ability to produce something that contributes to the world or the universe, such as a product. Maybe we have a list of those kinds of new products that are coming, but there are definite ways that people see that they can make progress in the new peaceful world. And that once they could see what's happening, where they're going, how good it'll be, the leaders will follow.
It's one point of looking at it, but can we do this with 7 billion in such a short time? Or are we making a simple village type that they can do what they like?
I think the word has to get out to 7 billion people very quickly.
How do we get to the man in the Amazon who has never seen another man, but he gets affected by the burning of his gas fuels and everything else?
It has to be so strong of a message that it is passed along to everybody. Everybody knows.
Well, what is the one thing that we feel in common around the world, and that the same feeling a mother might be able to know what's happening with her child that is hundreds of miles away, for example, or like the example that Mr. Keshe gave of his mother who passed away, and he knew it from the indications in the environment and his feelings at that time. So maybe maybe that force of love, for example, can connect everyone without having to make a direct email or flyers or workshops or whatever. In other words, the love can penetrate everyone in the earth without having to be delivered even verbally. Is that possible?
Where, yeah, but how can we? I mean, what I asked is, you put yourself in my place, you see the problems, you see the benefits, you see the path, but how? What would you do? What would have been? What is appropriate to do? How do we handle this? Because I hear people are waiting for something to happen. But why don't we see that we are that something that can make things happen?
Well, I think many people are seeing that now, and many more than proportionally than perhaps in the past. And but perhaps perhaps we look for something in the physicality to indicate that to us, or to be like a milestone that yeah, we really have achieved. For example, we could say that maybe that humans have achieved a certain kind of independence. They're more self-autonomous. They can control themselves, or at least most can, or some can, enough that we're self-controlling rather than having to be controlled. And if that's true, if the humans can become self-controlled and not have to rely on authorities to tell them what to do or to control them so they aren't too violent and so on, we control ourselves instead, then we become like independent energy generators, essentially, or independent love generators, you might say. And I think that if we had independent energy generators manifested in our environment, then that would be a reflection or confirmation of this level that we're leveling up to as humans.
What would be the limit? What is the limit? I put it in a different way. I bring it up in a different way. We looked for the gun to create peace. Gun policy has been the policy of the man. We know some of the, or one of the most famous scientists or people which we refer to. He made science a tool to gain power and a tool to kill, that he could have a power. Da Vinci lived that life. He used the science which he could have gone very far, but as a tool of weapon. Scientists like me and many like us, even we look at the Einstein, he always regretted what he advised the American president, which to himself, he was to the last minute, he regretted it, that he advised the use of atomic bomb when he was asked, or he made the indication he thinks he can do damage, that he gave the indication that could go ahead. We're all now in that level of science. We all more or less, when you look at the supporters and the people who've been around the foundation, we all carry one of the most strongest packages of knowledge with us. You call it gas, you call it nanomaterial, you call it whatever you like. But that's not it. With what I start very gently teaching from January, December of last year, I have opened to man, at least those who are around the Keshe Foundation, the most powerful weapon ever existed in the universe. Let me explain to you something very simple. What happens if the sun blows up? What happened this instant as we are talking? Our sun loses control, internal, or for whatever reason opens up. Or it decides, or by accident or whatever, trajectory, direction of plasma towards us, that Earth will not be as part of the equation of this planetary system. It's not that it hasn't happened, it happens every day in the life of the universe, millions of times over. The life of universe is like a lottery. The more numbers you have, the more chances of getting the jackpot. And there are several trillions and trillions of stars and planetary systems which the space of the universe force them to meet. Or the space of the universe fields forces them to squeeze energy out of them, like oranges. And we are in the path of it. Or it expands in a way that it includes us in its bigger dimension of the plasma field, that we receive suddenly a stronger field. Which means, in so many ways, dilution of the matter state into the whole structure. Which means no physicality at the level which we are used to it. We get 45, we get 60 degrees, we start panting and losing liquid, and at certain degrees we become ashes. What happened that the temperature difference doesn't happen, but the magnetic field strength happens that we cannot hold on to the essence of the matter or gas state of matter in this position. What about looking at the other direction? If our planet, if our solar system decides or by accident changes its gravitational magnetic field strength that matches about, just about, the happiest strength field to our emotional length. Which means everybody in the streets will be laughing and we don't know why we are laughing. All of us, we are happy people and we don't know why we are happy. All of us find joy and happiness and we don't know why. Now that we understand the science of creation, now we know what it means. We know we can create it. We call it the laughing gas, but now we know the strength of the gas or the strength of the plasma, which leads man to laugh or to be happy. Now, let's play the game of the sun, which extends its field beyond man, beyond this planet, that it makes man to forget about arms, about pain, about whatever. Do we need beacons of light across different positions on this planet? Or have we reached what I call critical point that all of us realize we can bring the change about? If and when we collectively decide that it's time for man to change. Then the question comes, do we need the world leaders to go and sign? Or we sign with the pen of our souls, man to peace? I think I have thought enough that the latter is the option. Critically, it's becoming an option. This is the reason why I asked everyone and all of you, stop making ganses, stop making nanomaterial. For the next month, listen and understand what you are doing, what you're trying to do to make the nanomaterial, to make the GANs, to use its field, is already within you. It's the soul of the man. The beacon of peace is the center of the body of the man. So, who and where do we want to turn this light on? By whom, or who is going to be our twin soul to bring that about? Do we all become the twin soul of each other? Do we all decide to give as a collective unit that become that mass, that it changes the process of the fields of the humanity, that no one will touch gun, will fight? Is our soul the whistle of peace? That when we blow the whistle, the game stops. But there is one criteria, as I said before. Is that ball on the table, where all have to have the same, that it lights up. But there is another point in the whole lot. I have spread, without you knowing, 4 motions across the planet. They are the beacons of peace. You know, when you start a fire, you put a match and you start with kindle, that you start a little smoke and the fire starts. Now they sit amongst you. They don't need to introduce themselves, but they have learned and they know they are the beginning.
Hello to all of you. Here is Thomas speaking from Switzerland. Dear Rick, dear Flint, dear Mr. Keshe, dear Caroline, is it okay to begin?
Who is speaking?
What do you mean to begin, Thomas? What are you speaking about? Hello?
What happened?
I'm not sure.
Maybe Thomas Kuntz had the microphone open while he got a phone call or something like that.
Yeah, something else happening here, I think. I'm just going to mute him for now.
See if he raises his hand.
Mr. Keshe?
We do have someone that's been waiting, has raised their hand and has waited this morning as well. Valentin. Maybe he could ask his question.
Yes, it's not a question. We are not going to ask a question. We're trying to understand how us have become and has enough within us to become that change. Let me explain to you what it means. What it means is what I just said, as the candle, the first match. Any of us is ready to become that candle. Any of us is prepared to give the totality of the soul for the change of humanity. I'm prepared to. But the field I create needs those who can accept it. This is the key. This is the understanding. What I call sentimentality doesn't come into it. Understanding of it doesn't come into it. Comprehending what it will bring comes to it. We are in the third day of more or less a cycle of 36 days. We are in the process to understand gradually that when we come near to the point, we have to be the magician, that we show the hand, but we have the magic of our soul to change humanity. Ganses will not help. The reason we brought the Ganses many times, I repeat, is simple. Was for you to see you are made of Gans, And if you had that gans in your hand and you saw the, as Caroline was saying, the guy sat in the machine, now he had his hair, and the other one sat in the machine, have no cancer. It was shown, it's the reason for it, to show the cancer body of the man has a very powerful field force which is centralized within itself. We call it the soul of the man. That's why there is no need for ganses. There is no need for nanomaterials. Many people have tried. It's very much we take you through kindergarten, and it's very much when you come to university, you graduate. From now on, it's the time of graduation. Because if you learn how to you create peace, then you learn one thing. You become man of peace across the universe. Many people have tried hard. Many people have gone beyond the barriers of pain trying to understand. But one thing they haven't understood, and that is the soul of the man is the son of the truth. The soul of the man is the son of peace. I take you back to one point, which I always explain. Read the hidden world of Baha'u'llah. And then when you read, O son of man, O son of truth, say that is me, that is my soul. And then read it with the language of the soul of the man, which is you. And you find a secret in the whole structure. Then you all become the tool of peace. This is the secret. And slowly, gradually, I bring everything together. I guide. I show the path, but I will not walk the path because I've been there. You will not find me running in the front line because you have to understand every single one of you is the front line to the peace through your soul. The teaching has not worked. Inspiration and aspiration have worked. Many times we've been told, we've been taught, and we have got nowhere. Many times we have broken the barriers of peace, but after a while we have chosen back into it. World War I, World War II, the Black Death in Europe. How did the Black Death come? Why so millions of people died? It was the outcome of a war. It was as a consequence of a war which the whole of Europe and the rest of the world got hit by it. Because one king decided, I throw this in. We built walls to stop the wars. We built everything else to protect and do with wars. But in fact, we never learned from it. This is why I tell you, this time we have to change the essence of man. This is time that we go through the soul of the man. Because then we change the grain of the man. And then with it, when the man's soul is elevated, the soul of the planet will change from the animal to the birds to the rest. This is the promised day. This is what we said is the promised day when it comes, when the wolf and the lamb sleep in the same nest. The lamb is the soul of the man. The wolf is the physicality of the man. When the physicality becomes as the strength of the soul, the earth shall find peace. This is the secret. This is what we push. We try, we cajole, and we do everything possible, but we cannot win. Because we have not understood the totality ourselves. Now you understand how easily I have walked all of you to become messengers of peace. The only problem is what we call the confidence, the strength that I am that part. I am the tool of peace, and my soul is the candle which will start the fire of peace. The problem is very simple. The problem is none of us saw within ourselves to be the tool of peace. But the other problem is that we all have to link to become and be able to bring peace. Because by what we have, we can achieve. I asked Caroline a simple question in the background, which was put in by Flint. Can you ask what is a twin soul? The twin soul is us with the love of earth. It's nothing to do with anybody else. The twin soul is us who got to understand we are the totality. What are we going to do?
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
This is Aza.
Yes.
I feel like, you know, even by myself, if once I get to my own soul, I have access to it, I can bring the world peace. I mean, one person can do it. It's very easy because I feel like one of the most critical aspect of humanity is physicality, which is financial. For example, once I have access to my soul, I can create gold. I mean, so much every day and put it in every neighborhood, every single home. So once you bring that in, all the government is gonna collapse. How they gonna have a backbone of gold as the financial? So if everybody goes to the street with tons of gold, what's gonna happen? The government doesn't have any bearing because financial aspect of society is. These governments hold everybody by the stick, by the financial, keeping everybody poor. Because even people who are into Keshe Foundation, some of them really struggling financially. They're trying to teach, but at the same time, they have to work. They have to feed the family. So one of the aspects of it is the physicality, which I think even if 10 of us have access to our soul and feed to the financial situation, we can actually take care of the peace. It should be very easy to do it because once the man is fed and has a comfortable home, they don't need to fight. And some of these people, you look at even people who done wrongdoing in Iraq and Yemen or Libya, these are the people who are poor, and when they get paid by these governments, they go do wrongdoing because they want to feed their families. That's the problem.
So you think by creating gold we solve the problem? All the neighbors will create gold. We cannot eat gold.
No, I mean, when you create gold, you give them some emotional security that I'll be fine because I can sell my gold. If they go to hospital, they're not going to say, I don't have any money. They say, okay, this is gold. I can pay with gold. So you dismantle the government. So the government has to come and share all the everything. We have to change the society from the root. It means everything.
Put it this way. Let me explain something, or at least enlighten me. We are coming up with bitcoins and becoming that there is no paper money. What people don't understand, or at least I don't understand, is that the gold is actually already replaced. When the actor president of United States, as we all know who he was, when he took the backing of the dollar as gold, the game was changed, but nobody understood at the time. Because every dollar produced had its backing as gold. Now, he withdrew it. And then that was the beginning of now. What we stand now today is that the gold is not the backing of anything anymore. They have found a way around it. Those of you who believe, or those of us who believe, the backing of every nation is the gold, it's not so. Or at least is in the process of being replaced. If we put more gold in, it doesn't change anything. If we put less gold in, we don't change anything. The bitcoins and everything else has taken the gold out of circulation. And by producing more, we don't see much difference.
Can I add one thing, Mr. Keshe, please?
Yes, please.
It's not about giving gold for everyone. It's not that the purpose. But if you cure someone, after that he said, oh, this God who cured me. If you help anyone, he said, God sent this person to help me. They will put everything for God. And who is controlling God here is the mullah and sheikh and all of that. But if you make this kind of power, this gold, and everyone who is in touch with that, you can tell them, go to this teaching and you will learn how to do it. That's my point. You know how I come to your teaching? When you you give 10 days to the government and that after that you release all this technology. You know how you put America and the Iranian to sit and negotiate? You used the power, the technology to bring them to sit. I am suggesting that we use this power.
That power is the power of your soul. Now you know, use it.
Do you think why okay? Why we always going? Do we have to test all the time? To be in test all the time?
Why do we need to test? Why don't we say we have the power to do it? It's not the test time. Now is to application and how we do it. The whole thing, the whole process, I repeat again, is the whole process of teaching in past years has been to bring about for man to understand the power of the magnetic or gravitational field, or whatever you call it, magravs. GaNs making, nano coating, and everything else, as I said 2 or 3 times today, was a gimmick to get man there to see there is a hidden power. This is the power of the creation. What else you want to see? You make any statue, any physicality, any field combination and call him God. Are we going back to the statues business? Or are we going back now to field business to call it the God? Why don't we have enough strength within us to say we are the creator? We are part of the creator, because the creator, essence of creator, this is what I explained many times in past couple of weeks, sits in the center of every plasma, which is us. What are we looking for? What is within us? Why don't we push ourselves to go more within ourselves, within our soul, at a higher level, that we can become that sun, that we can dilute at least or release energy at the level of peace. We are looking for, what do they call it? The field which they say created Fukushima. What do you call the
tsunami?
No. The magnetic field which they say it creates. Come on, guys. HARP. We have, pardon?
Yeah, this is John from Argentina. Some say it was HARP, some say it was a mini atomic bomb under the sea.
Doesn't matter. We are talking about why now we can call it anything you like. Now that thing is the man itself.
It's the ambition of power.
It's the ambition of peace. When there is peace, there is no power struggle, is there?
If we all stand at the same level, we could quench the ambition. We have to teach overpowering love to each person, to each soul.
Excuse me, I just
excuse me. I'd like to get Valentin in here. He's making lots of comments about. He's had his hand up for several hours now, and he's been ignored by people jumping in and really like to have a comment.
I was going to tell you the same thing. Like, so many people raise their hand, and can you please let them talk, because it's not fair to them. And
I've been trying for the last hour to get him in. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so Valentin, maybe he can make his comment now, or question. I'm not sure what he has there. Go ahead, Valentin.
Thank you. Is my sound okay? Okay. Hi, Mr. Keshe. This is Valentin Rozman from Slovenia. I would like to suggest some information as solutions for world peace. I have been following Keshe teachings for about 2 years now, and I have been researching how to make a better place on this world for about 20 years. I have been part of many different movements and groups, like Zeitgeist, Venus projects. I read all the holy books on world religions. I have been for several years part of Hare Krishna movement. I am a supporter of Ubuntu movement. I have studied at Jamestown University about the history of the law and money on this planet. And 7 years ago, I stumbled upon Destiny Group. Destiny Group has many solutions how to bring peace in this world. It has been created by Bernard Pullman, who has been for about 20 years researching the problems on this planet and how to solve it. Bernard Pullman lived in South Africa. He was a white man. He died 3 years ago. He initially studied law and then became a policeman. He was a criminal investigator and was researching what is the cause of the crime on this world. He saw the poverty that is especially prevalent in South Africa and inequality. He started to read a lot of books about different people from the history who wanted to bring peace, like Jesus Christ, like Buddha, and so on. And he also wondered why they were not successful in bringing peace. What was the influence that distracted humanity from following their teachings? What he also researched was how the spiritual world is functioning, because one of his relatives was a very recognized spiritual channel that even African government hired him to predict the future. And his predictions were very, very exact. So he wondered, how is it possible that someone can know what will happen in the future? Because this is telling that our existence is controlled, that is pre-programmed. So he then researched who are those who are managing our existence, who are the creators of our existence, who are the so-called gods. And he knew that in spiritual world, people are speaking about angels, spiritual guides, that we all have guides, that there are some kind of soul groups and so on, that there is reincarnation system, that there are past lives, that there are demons, that there is possessions, that there are chakras and auras and so on. So he researched all of this. And what he found out is that this existence has been managed by some beings that have taken control over this existence, that wanted to control every aspect of this existence. I'm talking here about the so-called reptilians, the Anunnakis. And the way how he approached this research was initially by using existing spiritual guides. He instructed them to call the spiritual entities, guides, angels, to answer questions like, why is there suffering in this world? If the suffering is in order for us to learn lessons, why those teachings cannot be peaceful? Why can spiritual entities simply not instruct us what is the meaning of life, how we should behave, and so on? And because he did not get proper answers, he was even threatened that if he would research in that direction, that he would get killed. So he knew that there was something fishy about their explanations. This is why he decided to train his own spiritual channel. He knew that spiritual channeling is something that everyone can learn. And he picked up a certain young girl by name Sunet's Peace, because he saw that she had certain characteristics that she would be very good student to become spiritual channel. So he trained her in a specific way in order for her to overcome all the emotional reactions, to overcome all the fears, because he knew that what is limiting us is our emotions, especially our fears, that are something that we have accepted and allowed, and that we can release all these patterns. After several years of training, they firstly brought many channelings from the spiritual world about the demon dimensions, exposing that demons are not something bad, that they are not some benevolent beings who want to harm humans, but that they were mainly humans who did not want to be servants of the spiritual hierarchy. They wanted equality. But the spiritual...
I don't understand where you're going with this. Sorry about that.
I would like to explain how he found out about how the totality of existence works. Because
what I don't understand, I've heard this before, sorry about that, but what I don't understand, if these people were supposed to know and have, why haven't they done anything for this process we see at the moment to be stopped? If they have such a power, as you say, or as we mentioned, and they could do it, why have they put man through this suffering? Unless there is something wrong.
Okay, so
and secondly, what is important, and I think it's got to be understood, with the process we have started, we can't blame nobody. Man has to do it for himself. So whatever has happened, whoever has been, whatever, with the tool which is in the hand of the man, man has to stand for himself. You can't blame reptilians, blah, blah. And I don't let this work to go in that direction. Because if has been, and if it is, where are they? Why man has to always have somebody to blame and have something to worship? This is the reason. That's, we have the knowledge. We are given the knowledge. Who else do we want to blame? This time is man who's got to do it himself. That's the difference. What you are explaining, and I've heard it from other people, the reptilians and the others. Why? As I said, once I was giving a lecture in Korea. The top nuclear physicist of Korean government, which I was paid to give a lecture to, they said, we're waiting for this technology in 40 years from America. And I said, well, it means you don't have the intelligence yourself. This is all to me, and why I stopped this kind of conversation to come into the work of the foundation, is the man has the power himself. You don't need to blame nobody. You don't need to say reptilians. You have the knowledge which the universe has. Go back to what I taught from the beginning. I give the man the knowledge that when he goes into the universal community, doesn't go as subordinate, it goes as equal. So the knowledge man has is enough. The knowledge I've given the man is enough to create peace on this planet without accusing anybody of anywhere else. You are building another worship path. You're building another fear path. And Caroline keep on saying, stop creating. Doesn't matter. These are the people. If they are here, now we have the same knowledge. Man has nothing less than anybody else.
Destiny movement is about taking self-responsibility for the whole existence.
So the man has the knowledge. This is why we are here. Human body, human knowledge is enough to take the responsibility. Why don't we do it? That's why these 30-odd days, look at the dates I've chosen. 36 is 9.
Yeah. What I would like to add to your teachings in order to be more effective is tools that have been developed at Destiny movement to take self-responsibility for the whole creation. At Destiny, there are specific tools and courses that teach everyone about how our behavior patterns are created, and especially how the mind and thoughts and emotions work. I understand that you have used the words like the soul and peace in order to explain how the human functions. But what I'm missing here is the understanding about the mind and the thoughts. The description that we are the soul, I see it is not specific enough, because the soul is not something that we can understand.
You can't understand. No, you can't. You can't understand. Not means the others. Don't summarize.
Okay.
Every man can understand the specific power of his soul. Why it's created, the way it's created, and the reason it's created. And this is the path. If let me explain. I'm very, very specific about this because I knew somebody like you will bring such a question on the table or such an answer. You are undermining humanity. We don't understand. We understand everything. As a human race, we understand everything. Why shouldn't we understand that we need somebody else to explain to us? The whole knowledge of the universe is on the table, recorded, and every man can get to it. We need a little bit more confidence to use it. Why? Why do we have to be always somebody better than us? Why are we looking at the pocket of others? This is what cannot stand. Then we are still subordinate. There'll be new magician, new prophet.
I think
This is what, okay, enlighten us, because choose your word very clearly. We are not talk, this is not just a chat show. This is not just something we want to talk. I set out to change the course of humanity with the knowledge, not magic show, not fear. Caroline keeps on telling me, creating fear, people do things. We are not creating any more fear. We are not creating to be a fear. We are creating a joy that we have the knowledge. Let's use it.
That is what I'm saying. The
Yes.
knowledge is available. It is for everyone. So I'm equally sharing
Enlighten
the
us how. Enlighten us how we can get to it.
Yes.
We enlighten us. If you have found out, we respect it. The basis of this, from the beginning of these teachings, has been respect for each other's knowledge.
Of course. I apologize if you thought that I would explain something that is creating fear or something, or superiority, because this was not my intention, but I wanted to explain slow and in small steps in order to explain all the story. But I see that this approach was not effective. So
no, it's not the effectiveness. We understand. It was beautiful the way you shared. It's good for some of us who don't understand. But what is not correct is to divert that there are other people who did this and that, and we cannot do what they could do with us. What we try to establish, especially from now on, and I did from past few weeks, is to give enough confidence to every man that I can change the course because I'm a son. The essence is that what are we doing with ourselves? What have we chosen to do with ourselves? What have we chosen to do with our presence? Do we value our presence? Our presence, it means respect for our soul. We have to go to the next step of development. We have to go to the step of understanding more of ourselves. I had a very interesting talk about you don't respect reptilians and they've been here, blah, blah. If they have been here, if they are here and they have not, and they have allowed man to go through the process of the First World War, Second World War, and the same number of killing from past the end of Second World War, there are more people have died since the Second World War through the American field, or what they call military, than they were ever killed in the First and the Second World War put together.
yeah, I have an explanation why this happens.
So we have to do it. This time, the whole movement, the whole position, I try to clarify, I brought in, we do not need the world leaders to sign. The world leaders are us within our soul. Because when our soul takes place, its position anywhere in the universe, it leads the position and the direction of the souls which are within it. If you look at it, if I can explain it in another way, our sun is a cell in the structure of a living thing, entity, which is a life of its own we are not aware of, we don't see it because we are within it. It controls life, it dictates life. And our soul in time will be that sun. Our soul in the point to come will be that sun, that within it, in one point is the life of a structure of it, when it gathers enough energy to become a solar system, and it creates itself at the boundary of it, whatever, that it can allow reduction in its field to have planetary system or within itself life, It has to be a just soul that it can create a just structure. This is what man cannot see. Caroline explained it beautifully recently, and people don't hear. So what I'm trying to get us to do, what I'm trying to open the light of the man to, is we are the creator. We are the soul. We have all the knowledge. This is, I go back again, I asked, stop making. Because if you're coming to this teaching and tonight you go back and make a GANs, you live in a state of confusion. But if you stop making answers, now you've seen the field, the strength of it, and you know how it works, and know it's within you, you start searching for you. This is the whole purpose. It's not that stop making answers that we're going to do something new. The new is you. You understand? It's we have to bring this out in ourselves. My job in the coming time is to give man the confidence of existence. The confidence that he can change. A single man can change, but that single man has to create the fields which fits the soul of the others. We have to find within our soul, we have to find within our soul the frequency of peace of the rest of the souls on this planet. And every one of us has it within us. And if a number of us simultaneously tune to that strength, there shall be peace. We don't need a reactor. We don't need a dynamic position. We have the tune. We have to understand it. This is the whole purpose of next 30 days of teaching. I'll go in every direction. I will bring this, I'll bring that, all of you bring this. I took time back. We've seen Caroline teaching today. Tomorrow, another person. But what we're trying to teach, what we're trying to bring is self-confidence in man, that the man can bring peace even if it is one man to change the rest. Because don't forget, you become the sun. So you are the sun. If the sun has the power to create 7 billion men from his fields, so can you change it, to increase it, change it, that change brings the change in humanity. This is the beauty of it.
Mr. Keshe.
Mr. Keshe, I want to add something to this. Valentine, what you're trying to tell us, for the past 20 years, I've been doing, going from one person to another person because I was looking for answer too, but what you're giving us is following something else. What Mr. Keshe is offering us, self-reliance. You can rely on your soul. You don't need anybody else. And that's the beauty of it. And then right now, even teaching how to access your soul, you know, there are people who want to access their soul so badly. Not necessarily everybody is going to do it. The more you want to do it, some people might not have the strength to do it, or their soul won't allow it. We can, with this knowledge, we're not following Mr. Keshe. We're following our own soul. The beauty of this knowledge, you don't have to look outside any place else. Any other people out there that I've been following, doing this, there was always some attachment. They made a giant castle for themselves out of this knowledge they were offering, and you have to constantly follow them, follow the words, follow the techniques. You don't need any techniques. Even in this technique, Mr. Keshe is teaching about soul, reaching your soul. It has to have some essence of your own reaching out. There's no technique in it. It's something more than that. There's a key, even though there's technique, but the last key is you, how you're gonna reach it. Everybody has their own way of reaching it. It's not going to be, breathe this way, lay down that way, and then that's it, voila. This is the beauty of it. If you have a strength, if you're supposed to reach it, you will reach it. If you're not, you're not. That's all it is. You don't have to follow anything else. You rely on yourself, nothing else.
This is exactly what Destiny Movement is teaching. It is self-reliance. How to be a responsible human being, how to take full responsibility for everything that you create, how to become master of your mind, of your thoughts and your emotions, how to direct yourself towards what is best for all living beings.
So what are you doing at Keshe Foundation? Because I'm doing this with Keshe Foundation, Mr. Keshe, and I'm fine with it. Why do I need to follow somebody else?
I was attracted by Keshe Foundation because it is the same goal, but different approach. Because at Destiny, we have certain principles and one is research everything and keep what is good.
Valentine, if I can reach my soul with what Mr. Keshe is teaching me, why do I need to go to another step? Tell me what you're trying to accomplish.
At Destiny, we have different terminology to explain how the man constructed.
Do you think
so, yeah.
would help? I mean, if I can do it the easy way Mr. Keshe is saying, do I need to go to another step? That's my question. Why do I need to waste my time? What's the purpose of this?
Yes, why do you, you're asking us to learn your terminology and to go through a whole series of program with this? I don't quite understand where you're getting at with it. Are you trying to compare your system?
I'm wondering how the whole humanity can benefit from the whole of knowledge that is existing. How can all the knowledge be merged into one body of knowledge? And
yes, let me. Okay, this is a beautiful discussion. No one of us is wrong. None of us is wrong. But what we're trying to understand, we have to be. You see, we passed the time when nobody could read, and then the priest or the mullah, whatever he thought said is in Quran or in Bible, people accept it. We have taught the knowledge that nobody needs to trust or accept another man because he can do it himself. We have and we've gone through the process that we have no illiterate in the creation, production, and knowledge of the plasma, which is the essence of creation. So every man can judge himself. We had a very interesting conversation yesterday with a lady who was here. She said free energy with Tesla. For past 100 years or whatever, everybody has tried everything Tesla has done, but nobody has succeeded. Because if we would have succeeded, we wouldn't speak about it. We would have been using it. We know in a scientific way, sometimes it's happened to me many times, we build a system, we know what it is, but we don't give the secret. I tell you something very interesting. This is very, if you read my first papers, for confusion of people not to understand what I've written, because I wasn't sure that my technology will be used the right way, I use capital K for calcium. And anybody who has the intention to take my technology, read, the guy doesn't know K, calcium is not K. Read my original papers. I've done a lot of these things because at that time, I was not sure if my technology will be used peacefully. Tesla has done the same. I know how Tesla has managed to make what is made, and I've made the replication of it in front of a lot of people, but they don't see it. We passed that point. I can do what I can do with my soul. I become that tower of Tesla. I become the sender of the energy. What I referred to yesterday too, are you supposed, or can you become the miles that you can create the gravitational pull that what I release and what you can absorb can penetrate everything. The discussion between Miles is that Miles says, I am correct because my fields can penetrate. And Tesla cannot if you put Faraday box or whatever. You understand? And this is the problem. This is what we have to therefore, in this process, in this path, which one of us can be, without stealing from the other, be both the receiver and the giver, but just and correct? This is the point. This is the reality. This is what we need. This is where we have to go. That we give enough, but we take enough, that we enlighten the other souls to become peaceful to our level, that we find balance. This is what the secret is. This is what I'm trying to get. We have within us to be correct and just. Thou shalt not steal. Most of the problem with the humanity is men steal from themselves. And then they blame the others. Listen to something very carefully, and you understand the key. We say, it's in the writing, I made man to create children, that they, children, may love me. When I'm the beginning, I'm the end, I'm the creator, why do I need to create a child that with him giving, I confirm my own existence? Why do we believe in Adam and Eve? Why do we believe in man and woman? So within us is enough to elevate the soul of the whole universe. And in my teaching in past couple of weeks, I've been targeting this, that somebody will understand this. For me to become the level of creator, all I need is to go within me, which the creator reaches the totality. Peace on earth is not and cannot be done by one. It has to be the whole lot, at least a bunch that can reach inside to find the balance within self that is equal to the soul of the creator, which is us. In the next few days, in the next coming time, I'm going to bring you to the point that man will be ashamed to be a man. If you are Belgian listeners, and I know some of you listen, I know where you come from, I bring you Belgian souls, women who have been abused by the whole family, and they're still forgiving. We don't do it to demean Belgians. We are bringing in the reason that shows how man can go as low as possible. Then I bring you the souls, which the elevation of the soul of a woman leads to creation of humanity. I bring you Belgian woman who's been abused by the father, the grandfather, and the brother at the same time. This is the trend. They will tell you, not me. And then you see how low human race can go. I bring you a number of Belgians, women and men who've been in that path. And then you understand why we came to this country. And then I bring you Middle East, I bring you from China, I bring you from the other positions of the world to show how we elevate each other. The point is, we have to understand one thing. Do we need, or do we have to rely on the others and call them prophets, reptilians and the others? They brought the teaching. If they brought the teaching, where is it? Why don't we have access to it? Why haven't they done what I do to teach it freely? Are the reptilian another name is a church? Is the reptilian what you call the names of the different faith? To me, they are. Because a father has to be kind and just and giving. I am the father. The same as rest of you.
Mr. Keshe,
let me explain something, because this is important. This has brought a lot of friction. We have one of the members of the Keshe Foundation, after I gave a talk to Kerry Cassidy, going about reptilian and the rest of it. If, and not if, they haven't done their job right, if they've been here. They don't write. If you understand there is no pen in the universe, you have to write with the pen of soul. They should have taught the language of the soul. This is what we are doing. The language of soul is the power of the soul, is the power of the field which creates it. That's why you played with the GANs. Go back, remember, don't touch. What GANs was mixed, go into the videotapes which was played and what you saw. You find the position of your soul. We push humanity from now on to the point of virtual, total destruction of the beliefs of the past. Because with the joy of new knowledge. You do not know what I planned for you. I planned by the time I finish, you rejoice to be a human. But knowing from now on, you'll be correct and just. Not just you, the whole of humanity. When you come in, please bring a knowledge that does not demean mankind. It's been done enough.
that was exactly my plan.
We haven't seen you explain a lot of other things. If you have the knowledge, share it. What I want to do, most of you who are here and come here from now on, try to bring a knowledge to us. Where is our soul? Let's start step by step. The first thing I told Mojans when they joined is, where is the position of your soul? Let's do one thing at a time every day. And in time, we'll graduate that we can reach the totality. Where is our soul? Where is the position of our soul? What and how can we reach our soul? You cannot play a music when you don't know where the stereo system is. This is what we want to try. Try all of us and pass this message across whoever you know. The man has started the process of peace within himself and within the society. It bothers me. It has hurted me for a long time. Why everything is wrong with the Arabs. Everything wrong is with the Muslims. This started 40 years ago when they sent a guy who is not even a Muslim to become the head of Islamic State. What you see today is the seed of destruction set 45, 50 years ago with the Iranian Revolution. The first seed of there is something wrong with this belief was set by Vatican years ago. And now we accepted it, we believe in it, everything is Muslims. But who created the bombs? Who make the bombs which the Muslims put in? The Christians. And who puts it together? The Jews. It's a mafia which has somebody to do the job. The guy who does the job is one or the other. This is what we have to bring to an end, that religions don't count. When we understand this, we can bring peace. We talk a lot about it, but we haven't found the frequency, you call it, which doesn't believe in plasma. We haven't found the strength of gravitational magnetic field within the emotion of the man we call religion. Which means abuse of the weakness of the man in its strength of himself. They take our strength from us and they tell us this is your weakness. Where they use our strength to strengthen themselves. What does that mean? They tell us, you've done something, you do confession. We work hard and then we pay them for what they tell us is wrong, and they do it themselves. A man rapes a child, gets a life sentence. A priest left 3 children, nothing, just 3 weeks. So the judge is already a crook. The judge is already an abuser. They have established a system for themselves. You do, we look after you. If that judge in the United States was not whatever, they killed him themselves, Alan Sterling would have been out still raping children because he was a supplier. So is Mr. Lorenz. They rely on the backup of what they have. They've done so much. Listen to what it is. We put the papers on the screen last week. The guy says, prosecutor, Mr. Lorenz has been taking the prosecution, the guy is gone, he doesn't have even a patent. Anywhere in the law is against, but they got away with it with the prosecutor, they shared his loot. 40 million, 50 million according to him. The most successful toy in the world. The man who invented it got nothing. And then what happened? He sleeps on the street or in the house with cardboard boxes, as he says, and the wife takes everything. You stole, you got stolen from. This has to stop. Do we blame or do we elevate? The soul of the man, they're all perfect. I was explaining this to Armand this afternoon. There is no soul which is wrong. All the souls are equal. It's the physicality which takes and filters what it likes to the benefit of itself, but then he has not taken anything with it. Don't believe, but understand that all the souls of the man created on this planet are equal, perfect, and just. It's the emotion which creates the physicality condition. But the beauty of it is, when you die, the soul goes with no body. When we leave this body, our soul is independent, is free, is equal to the other. I explained this to a very rich man once. I said, the richer you are, the less you take with you when you go to coffin. He laughed at me. I said, you know, the poor man, the beggar, the tramp on the street, when he dies, they just may wash his body and they put him in the coffin. The rich man dies, they clean under his nails, that there is so clean and perfect. The beggar, the pauper, took the sand and the soul under his nails with him. The rich man takes even less. But the soul is the same. This is what we're trying to do. This is what the teaching is going to go so rapid in depth, that because we feel it, because we understand it, we find our soul. But each one of us has to do it on his own. Each one of us, when we get to that point, will become the beacon of light of peace, and with it, millions of listeners we have, those who understand and can be translated correct across this planet, will light in one go. It's my job to do, and I will do. This is what we have to do. We have no choice. We have absolutely no choice. Reptilians, the Martians, from planet Zeus and the rest have come to home to take man into space. Now, there is one condition. And the condition is very simple. All the souls of this planet are equal. There is no king souls and there is no beggar souls. So what are we fighting for? We are not preaching. We are enlightening, that by enlightening you be enlightened and you find your soul. And with it we bring peace to humanity. Have we said go on the street and march? Have we said close your bank accounts? Have we said go and sit on the streets and don't move? No. All we say, understand the strength and enlighten the others. I have enlightened millions of souls. And the minute one finds out the balance, the rest will follow. This is my job. And please come in and tell us how you find your soul. Let's start step by step. Let's find the position of our soul. Then we find the strength of our soul. And then we start tuning. I tell you how you tune your soul. I explained it in a very quiet way in past couple of days. Use your heart as a channel of control. Go back to my teachings in the medical section. Understand what I said. The blood of the man, one is for physical and one is for emotion. The blood of the man is for the emotion. The physical part is fed by the lymph. You create a reactor. We create a feeding pump. If you go back to the exam test we had in the Sensano, we had waters going into the system, waters coming up and out of the system. I explained at that time. Now, understand the next step. The pipes going in and out of the reactor is the blood of the man. The reactor is the heart of the man. And inside these reactors, we create a field which can find fields and go up to 129 Tesla. So, you understand one thing. You have found a pump control for a feed to the soul of the man. The soul of the man is like a light bulb, very much like if you've been the work of Tesla. When you get a fluorescent tube and get it in the right place, lights up. But you have to create a field between the receiver and the taker. The receiver is the flow of the blood within the heart of the man, which creates the feeding control for the soul of the man. The soul of the man with the light bulb is the indicator that the field is strong enough. And if you adjust it and you see light within your eyes at the same time, it means the light bulb has lit. Means you have to start learning how to control your soul. You might not find it. It could be the television or what I said, the mobile phone under the blanket. You don't know where it is, but you dial the number. And if you get it right, it rings. Start understanding, start with a small, understanding that the gas body of your blood is the creator of the field, and a pumping circulation pump of the 4 chambers of your life, which is your heart, is the creator of that field. It's the tuner. Start tuning till you see the light in your eyes. That's the advantage with the man. Has got the eyes, but he looks to see. He never looks to see what it brings. If you see the light in your eyes and you can hold it, that makes you blind to the physicality of life. You never go blind because it's of yourself. Then you start seeing inside you. The physicality of the brain does not matter. You should not be blind by closing your eyes. You should become blind by the light of your eyes. That is so bright that you don't need to see, because now the physicality of the light which you have created by its soul shows the new dimension of receiving the information, and through it you have found your soul. It's very much, you keep on dialing, the phone rings, and then after the dial it dies. You dial again till you find it. But you can hear it, you know it's somewhere. It ran out, but I have to know where it is. It's very interesting. A few weeks ago, I was talking to Caroline while I was packing my suitcase. And I zipped up the bag. I could still hear Caroline, but she became fainter and fainter. I said to her, "Where are you? I can hear you, but I don't know where you are." I zipped the phone in the suitcase. She was there. I could hear her, but I couldn't find the telephone. We have to know our voice reaches that telephone, that it can dial our soul. This is the secret. Start understanding, using the flow of your heart. Understanding the emotion by the rhythm of, not necessarily breathing, because when you stop breathing and you control your breathing, you create a constant position. And that constant position is the time when you need to enlighten the soul. Because now everything within the heart is constant from environment. The only thing which is constantly running and keeping the seed of the plasma running is the blood of the man. And now you have to create intention in the soul to serve, that starts feeding through the heart, the soul itself. Let's start with that. Let's find how we can elevate our own soul. We need no prophet. We need no pope. This is a secret. Let's see how we can do. Let's see how we can find the strength of our soul, and then we'll find the truth. Because then we are the totality. Then we can understand the totality. Then we can change, because once we can enlighten ourselves with a peace that we are there to enlighten, with it, because it's made of the same strength, you start enlightening the other souls. Everything will shine. The planet will be seen from billions of kilometers. It changes color. Becomes the color of the soul of the man. You know, when you take these pictures from the satellites or plane with all the streets, dots, it shows the roads and where they are. That's how we'll see the soul of the man from space. All get lit one by one. No need for wiring, because the soul of the man, as I said, has a twin. It's the others. And if you go correct enough and understand collectively a number of you start doing, no man will feel hungry because the soul will feed the physicality. No man will feel the cold because the man's temperature will control through the soul, that it creates its own protection. And no man will be without soul. I told you, I take you so beautifully that you enjoy to be the sacrificial lamb of the soul of the planet and the universe, but we don't sacrifice. The only we sacrifice is the time, the place, and the position to be part of a chain. The time is now, the position is correct, and the man to deliver. There are 4 who have been trained there amongst you. I told them, you do not need to disclose who you are. You can teach freely, but nobody needs who you are. And then you become the candle in the whole process. They sit amongst you, but you'll never know. But use them to start the process. Very simple. Start with your heart. See if your heart, the blood which carries your physicality, is pure enough that it wants to play with you. And because the stronger brother sits on the top,
Hello, Mr. Keshe. So you're still in the Zoom room. Not sure if you can hear us. I think he popped out and should be back shortly. Please bear with us. Is there any comments from our panelists about what Mr. Keshe has been saying?
sorry about that, is the function of the telephone finding its soul. Please, I try to explain. I try to bring the light. But it's you who have to accept the light. You have to understand the process is very simple. And that is, how far can we push humanity without the humanity collapsing back itself on itself the way it's done before? There is no fear of unknown because we are the unknown ourselves. We decided to be. Find a way, we guide the way. We will not show the way. We need to be part of the structure, and I'll stay as part of the structure, but I will not become the structure. When I leave, there shall not be a prophet, there shall not be a messenger. It will be that the Creator has visited on God. Because that way you receive the totality and you don't need to believe in no one except yourself. You are the creators of yourself. And this is what I try to do. I try to give you enough confidence that you find the soul. And one find out is the recipe of an omelette. The rest will make it. Look inside you. And it's very interesting. And that is, how far can we go? How can we take ourselves to a new dimension? I tell you something very interesting. One of the first things, I give you a tip. I give you a joyful thing. I start to give you not a carrot and a stick, but I show you the beauty of what you can achieve. Once you start creating and understanding the position, the control of your soul through your heart, through the operation of the heart of the man, something interesting will happen to you or the people around you. These are the games because that's the beauty of it. And then you try to find, it's a hide and seek of the soul, we call it. What does this mean? Is you create a field which is in a strength equal to its environment. You shall be seen and you shall not be seen. You create a condition that you see the aura of the other, because they haven't managed to do what you do, they haven't reached that point. You extend your aura, it's like a handshake. You let your soul feel the strength, touch another man's soul's, or what you call the aura, and you see a sparkling light. Then you can extend it that they become inside you if they want. We start playing the game of the soul, and it's so nice that nobody will stop playing it. And to become part of the game, it means we have to be equal. Do you remember, going back to the teaching, what I said once? Those who have the wrong intention will not get on board of what you call the spaceship. They walk away themselves because it's like a magnet. It refuses to enter. The soul of the man will refuse to enter. This is what we need, and this is where you need to go. This is what we have to do. This is what we need to do to elevate the soul of ourselves, not to sacrifice the soul of ourselves for the benefit of the others. Because you can never sacrifice your soul. You can extend it to have more, to give more, that with it, it receives more. Can you teach us more? Or can you enlighten us?
Are you talking to me?
Anybody. You said your piece. Now find a way to inspire us. Come back with a tool, and we will be more than glad to learn.
I can share the tool right now if you like.
Enlighten us.
Okay.
Explain. We're all with you. We don't need to see them. There is no machinery.
All right. So what I have noticed is that there are points of separation that keep us apart from each other. We can say that we are one. We can consciously understand that we are all part of the same existence, that we are part of the universe, but then there are some factors that distract us from constantly being in that awareness. And what distracts us are thoughts. So the thoughts are the voices in our mind, in our heads, that are triggered constantly. So one may ask where the thoughts come from. What is their intention? And the way how a destiny is explained is that the mind is some kind of being, energetic entity that is like a kind of parasitic system, symbiotic parasitic system that is existing together with our physicality, with our physical body. And it needs the energy. It needs to produce the energy to exist because it is energetic system. It is energetic entity. It is not physical. So in order to create the energy, it needs to create polarity in our physical body, the polarity between positive and negative, some kind of battery. So the mind is constantly producing thoughts that are lies, that are not aligned with the universal truth that we are all one and equal. The mind is producing thoughts that make us see ourselves and others in certain moments as something less or something more. And if we allow ourselves to follow such thoughts of polarity, of separation, then we give the power to our mind and allow it to create the friction that is manifested as emotions and feelings, as positive emotions and negative feelings. And that energy is then used for the existence and evolution of the mind. And we, as the being, we can say it, a soul, we have the power to follow those thoughts, or to stop the thoughts, or to analyze the thoughts and see if the thoughts are aligned with universal reality of oneness and equality, or if those thoughts are wanting to separate us, will create emotional reaction within us. So the danger is in allowing the emotion.
Can I come in, just
Yes.
adding to knowledge, adding in what you're trying to say? Maybe just a small point. You know, we say, it's in the writings, we understand, I made the man in the image of myself, which means what we see as a physicality of the man is within the soul of the man, which means our soul sees, which means our soul has eye, which means you understand the environment it's in. Our soul can hear, which means it's aware of what is going on and what is other fields, souls talk about, or in a way they carry information of their feeling. But there is something which is interesting. I've covered this a couple of times, but maybe it's time to emphasize. If we have emotion of love within us, we have to understand that emotion exists within the soul too. It's made its own image. But with the difference that the image of it itself is pure, in the brain of the man comes in touch with a filter which is not pure, is short of something. And in the structure of body man, we call it the zinc. And in the structure of the man, we call it the lack of calcium. Sorry, yes, calcium and potassium. So if those of you who have a problem and you cannot reach, and you understand you need the trigger point, and a lot of you take a zinc oxide on its own, but you forget the thing. It's no good filling the tank up with fuel when there is no wheels and there is no engine. For the elevation of the soul of the man to understand, to support, to be equal in emotion and physicality the same, this is where the problem comes. You need the totality in the correct way. Zinc oxide, which is the base, but now you have to hook it. You need the calcium. Now you have to connect the calcium to zinc, that the communication line becomes balanced, which means you need calcium and potassium. This is why we have a good success rate with the children or the people with the mental condition. Because follow the teaching. Go back to the medicals. We talked about it in Kerry Cassidy and the other Irish interview. If you want to reach a balance of the soul, that you can elevate yourself in that position, you have to have everything in a perfect order. The level of the soul in strength of the emotion of love has to have the physicality equal to it. The problem we see in humanity is the physical side is lacking some materials, some conditions, some fields. So when next time you say, I've been drinking zinc all the time and it does nothing, sorry sir, you fill the tank in and you're overflowing, but you haven't put the engine and the tires in and there is no axle. The axle of it is CO2. Connects everything together. So those of you who look to elevate, to have a strength of field in the physicality equal to the soul because I made the man in the image of myself. So if you understand, the soul of the man has feeling. It feels, he understands because it's part of the spectrum of his fields, is the essence of the man's feeling. That's why in your dream you see the mother crying. It saddens you. It is not your physical part, it's your emotion, the soul which feels it and translates it into the physicality of the fear, why the mother cried. So another step for us to be more in tune with what we do is let's repair the damage. Let's prepare for the unification of the soul and physicality. Because when you bring this balance in, soon you'll find out the amalgamation of the totality of the body of the man in the brain and the soul of the man will be a flash of a job. Your soul will not do, your brain will reflect this operation. So those of you who've been taking a lot of sodium and everything else, or what you call it, Gans water of the zinc, and you see nothing, as I said all the time, you are the Indian doctor. Neem Hakim Khatar Jan means half doctor is danger to life. You are filling the tank and it's overflowing, but you have no engine, no wheels, and no axle. When you feel it, it has to have a use for it. So let's start repairing. Not repairing, but raising that all the nudges and nuts are perfect. We have what I call amnesia of the soul, which means our brain does not see the soul because it's forgotten the link of connection. It just, whatever it comes, it accepts. So let's, what you suggest, we add to the knowledge. The soul of the man knows the strength of the emotion of the physicality because it's made itself in the image of itself. Doctors now, they said this part of the brain is for emotion, this part of the brain is for this and that. So if it is here, you have to look into the Father, the Creator inside. So it has soul. It's the reflection of itself. I made man in the image of myself. It's not with the eye and the lips. It's with the emotion and the soul strength. So repair the physicality. Then when the time comes, all the connections are made. If you want to bring the level of physicality to the point of the emotion of the blood of the man, you need one thing. This is magnesium. Because now you connect the physicality to be balanced with the soul or the emotion. Then you have a problem. You bring the emotion to the field of the blood, to the body of the man, but the physicality of the man is weak. You have two choices. You increase the level of the strength in the iron of the blood of the man. Don't forget, iron came from protein plus iron became the blood of man. So you need a gans of iron. But at the same time, you don't need to worry about muscles. Because when you take the soul, which is the creation of the magnesium of the body of the man, then in interaction, you'll find something very interesting. You remember that potassium you used? Go and look in the periodic table, but it gives you the mass of this dimension extension, and add an oxygen to it. You'll find you found iron. And why iron is the carrier of the emotion of the man. It is important to understand the process. Ignore the physicality. When you bring the emotion and the soul from every cell of the body of the man to feed the heart of the man, and then it feeds the soul of the man, you'll find out the connection is complete. Man starts elevating himself. This is what I kept away from you. I hoped someone will see. Iron is 56. Look at its isotopes. What is potassium? 40. What is the difference? Oxygen. Now you know how to make a connection and how to elevate the soul in the right strength. But there is something which I gave you and you do not understand in the teaching from day one. Do you remember that guy called CH3? Do you remember how you made it? Do you remember it had to be zinc galvanized? And do you remember inside it had iron? Do you understand the connection? How easily the man can elevate his soul? Do I need to teach more?
Yes, please. It's Caroline.
I love you. Stay there. Understand one thing. Everything I thought from day one had a reason. The zinc and the iron created the CH3. Now you understand. The iron and the amino acid created the blood. Now you understand. I say something to a lot of you might not mean nothing, but Caroline understands. She spoke about the twin soul. And she wrote to me a few days ago, you can move it. It has moved. It's a gift to you. This is a gift when we become equal. I asked her today, explain what it means twin soul. She is my twin soul. It's a gift you ask and is given. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Now, you find the meaning of the twin soul in your body. Your heart is the twin soul of your soul. The zinc, the iron, the blood of the man, the zinc within the brain of the man, should give you how to control your soul. That with it, you can elevate and extend your soul beyond. I've given you a puncture repair kit. It's you who's got to know how to rub it and when you put the puncture patch. There are two ways. Some of you will go and start looking how to make a gans of water and gans of zinc and gans of this and that. And some of you have already graduated. You do not need it. By intention, you bring it from the environment of the universe. There are no waters in the universe and there are no zinc. But the soul of the man in the level of physicality carries the essence of the totality of the elements of the universe in the matter state which was created. You got to understand something important. Remember, I've showed many times, this is the zinc, this is the hydrogen, this is the oxygen on the loop of the plasma. You're only playing with that part. So whatever you need, you have to tune to it. That is strength of weakness, pulls the energy of this balance from the state of the universe. This is how you feed yourself. And in a very short term and time, the body will pick up on it. As you travel the span of universe, as there is adjustment, it will adjust itself. There is a secret in your life in the universe. As you lose most of your physicality, the energy balance for existence of the soul is very, very minimal. So, universe at any point is the supplier of the energy to the soul of the man. Some of you, when you pass to understanding and you prepare, as I call, with a puncture kit, you will see yourself as lights and the other people see you as a floating light. You have to understand when you can release it, that in interaction with the physicality of the earth gives you the physicality look of the man. A lot of you will be jumping up and down when you reach it. This is the message and the package of peace. Nothing is hidden. And you don't need no one to teach you, because now you understand and you can teach. Teach everyone. It's the way you teach. This is the water you needed. If you put this in it, it's orange juice, or they put this in it, it's good for your headache. What I've taught you in past half an hour is the recipe for elevating the soul of the totality of the man to the point of understanding and meeting with the creator of itself. I love you, Caroline. And you're welcome to be my twin soul. We have to understand the reality of totality. And that is, giving pleasure to a life is not taking away, but in fact, being able to elevate it to the level of you. I teach from now on in such a depth in the essence of creation that many of you will wonder and you will join. None of you will fall behind. But if you see somebody is behind, do not insult, but add to the knowledge that they catch up. The maturity of time does not come from understanding, but comes from sharing unconditionally. And I think those around us have matured enough. Anybody can enlighten us.
I can continue with explanation about the
I
tools.
just add the knowledge.
Yeah. So, as I explained, we all experience thoughts in our mind constantly that distracts us from understanding that we are all a part of totality. Those thoughts are very fast, and we have difficulty to see them. So we need to slow the thoughts down. There are two ways of slowing the thoughts. One is speaking, voicing thoughts, because thoughts move much faster than we are able to speak them. So speaking is a very nice way of understanding our thoughts. But even more effective tool is writing, because by writing we are able to manifest our thoughts even more as part of this physicality. And during writing, we can identify even more subtle thoughts that we have within our minds. So the first step of writing is to describe a certain event that we have experienced, especially when we have experienced some emotional reactions within this event. So we write thoughts without judgment, without trying to analyze them initially. Then the next step is going through our writing and identifying what are the points of separation. Within writing, we describe the location of where we were in the event, what others have said, what we have said, what we have thought, and what kind of emotional reactions we had. And then, by analyzing those thoughts, we can see what thoughts are not part of the reality, of the realization that we are all one and equal. We can identify the thoughts where we have allowed ourselves certain beliefs, certain information, where we have prevented ourselves to accept everyone and everything in that event unconditionally. Where we have, for example, had certain belief that someone should not say something or should not do something, or that we know we are better than others and that we know more than others. So all the points where we have defined ourselves or others as something more or less. Because the truth is, we are all one and equal. We are all equal in value because we are all part of the same existence. The next step is committing ourselves that we will change. So we write self-corrective statements. Firstly, by analyzing our thoughts, we have become aware of our thoughts. We have allowed ourselves to take time, to take power back in all the events or in the specific event that we have written about. We have stopped playing victims, or we have stopped playing something more than others. So it takes self-honesty within this process. Self-honesty means that we are honest with ourselves, that we are truthful with ourselves. Because, yes, we all know what is truth. We all have the knowledge within ourselves. But we are denying ourselves this knowledge. We are lying to ourselves. Why? Because we have become addicted to emotions, to energies. So, in this process, we are releasing ourselves from energetic emotional addictions. The tools that we are using here is, besides being self-honest, is then self-forgiveness. Why we are forgiving ourselves and not others? We cannot forgive others because others are not responsible for our resentment. We are all creator of our resentments, of our emotional reactions, because all emotional reactions are based on our accepted and allowed beliefs of separation. So, better than forgiving others is forgiving ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves that we have allowed to become manifestation of points of separation, where we have separated ourselves from the reality, from understanding, from awareness that we are all one and equal, that we are all part of the totality of existence. And we are writing this self-forgiveness very specific. Forgiveness has to be specific in related to event where we have created emotional reaction. We have to completely understand why we have reacted. The realization must be complete. And then the next step is self-commitment statements. We commit ourselves to be constantly aware of our breath, because the breath is the tool that connects us with our physicality, with life, and as long as we are aware of our breath, we are here in awareness of this physicality, and we do not allow ourselves to go to separation of our mind. We commit ourselves that in the next similar events, we will respond differently, that we will keep our awareness that we are all one and equal. These are the simple tools that all can use. These are universal tools the Destiny group has perfected and have created online courses, which the introduction course DIP Lite is totally free, and one can slowly become master of using these tools and eventually become emotionally stable and direct ourselves in every single moment with understanding of the totality, and to support ourselves equally, to share this existence so that we can live in abundance and harmony. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think a shortcut to this, without all the writing, as we don't have the pen with us in the space, would be to understand, to use the right, absorb the right energy from the universal energy, that we can do the same thing in a very instantaneous point through our heart and through our soul. Because don't forget, what you write to understand and whatever, you can feed it through your soul, that in the direction of flow of the field corrects the totality. Once the man learns how to create emotion from the heart in a physical position anywhere in the universe to his soul, man learns to repair at any time the totality of physicality and the emotion. There are no pens and no beaks in the space. Finding out in how you can create a flow of fields within yourself that is correct at the strength you need, the body will do the repair, be it on this planet or beyond. We have to understand the process, and each one of us will understand the process in a different way, according to our intelligence. But as I said, the time has come. The time is now, and the place is now, and the change is now. And each one of us can go through that change to become man of peace, and then we do not need Mount Carmel, because the Mount Carmel will come within us. Thank you very much for enlightening us, and thank you very much for us collectively making the effort to change. First of all, to change ourselves, that by changing us, we bring the change for the human race and all that exists within this planet.
Mr. Keshe, can I ask you, Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yes.
You know, the people who use, like in India, the gurus, use a lot of cannabis and hashish in order to get to the creator. I mean, they've been doing it for centuries.
The only thing they do, they never get to the creator. They just go in the heart, what do you call it, the abuse of the physical part of the brain.
So what is the effect of cannabis on the soul?
Nothing. It doesn't reach.
It doesn't reach.
I'll tell you and I'll teach you. I have taught this to some people. Hallucination is not part of the extension of the soul of the man. When the soul sees damage to physicality, it protects itself.
Also, I have another question. You know, when I was in Rome last year, there was a person, Caroline knows that person. He told me that sometimes when I was a child, something really bad happened, that I hidden my soul very deep, deep down, that I have no access to it. Is it possible still for me to access my soul, or is it impossible?
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
If I tell you you're blind, you're ugly, and you have no feeling, would you accept?
No.
So why do you accept the rubbish from the others?
Okay, thank you.
You understand? You're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're highly educated. The people who come up with these things, they have no understanding. And that's one of the things I've said many times to Caroline. The people who read tarot cards and do this and that, they touch the life of the man and people change themselves for that. Have you seen a tarot card reader rich on the stolen money? Because they touch the soul, they pay with their soul. Never those who understand. Listen to these.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Mr. Keshe, may I just add to the effectiveness of the tools that I described? Hello? I'm not hearing any answer.
Oh, he's not in the chat right now.
Okay.
I think he dropped out or left. Just hang in a minute there.
Okay.
What was the question, sir?
Well, I want to explain or answer the question how to use self-forgiveness when we are in space, because there is no pen and paper. The tool of writing and speaking is just the initial step of understanding the process of self-forgiveness. After we have mastered in several years this process, the final goal is making self-forgiveness in quantum time. That means that we become master of our minds and that we are in the split second, in the moment, stopping.
I'm gonna interrupt you. You use a very wrong word.
What word?
Forgiveness. Why do we have to forgive ourselves? This is the terminology for control that you're still weak. Why do we need to forgive ourselves? This is the word of the church. This is a word of abuse.
No, the forgiveness is.
Why do we need? No, well, try to use a terminology which elevates the soul. What I heard from what you said is the meaning. We have to forgive. We go to analyze what we done wrong or what we done to others, that is us. We done nothing wrong. We never knew the way.
No, this is what I'm trying
forgiveness, to no. This is, you are reading off a script. I'll let you read because it's good for people to understand how they've been controlled.
I'm not reading from the script.
No, you read, you repeat, whatever. Yes? Is of manuscript. Let me explain to you something interesting.
No, it's not.
Very. I respect your language. I respect. But when you teach, please, I allow you to speak. It's your right because we are here all to learn. Try to choose words that from now on does not demean humanity. does not, it's not so. We do not need forgiving. Forgiveness does not exist. God never forgave. God just gave. Is the man who forgot to use what he received.
Okay, can I say something?
No. Let me listen. I enjoy what you're teaching. Otherwise, I would have cut you off, because you bring out a lot of weaknesses in the school of thoughts which man has been abused. But let me explain to you. In your teaching, in your enlightening us, try from now on to use a terminology which elevates the soul of the man. It's important, because you speak, but you touch exactly what the lady just told us. The man there told me, my soul is hidden in such a deep place, dark. Your word counts. You understand? We have to learn the language of promotion of the soul of the man. You know, when I go to Africa, when I said it, I could see Benjamin sitting back. And in the very last meeting, in a meeting of about 7 or 8 people, I heard him saying, and he wasn't so convincing, but he has come to understand it. It's clicking on him. I say to the Africans, do you know what they've done to you? They have taken the trust out of you to trust yourself. The self-confidence has gone. Even though they become the most educated people, the self-confidence in them is not there, it's been taken. And this is what they've done with the man. We have to be confident. We are equal to the others. Unless we become to forgive ourselves, we are back in the church and the Vatican and the Pope. We go into the confession box, we are weak, so we confess. The try is not just you, all of us try to change the tone. We enlighten each other. I speak in how to elevate, and it has to become the tone of all of us in this room and those who listen to us. We are not lower than men in space who understood the essence of creation 1 billion years ago. This is what we have to change. This is, I respect your sharing knowledge, but whatever you absorbed, whatever you understood, try to use a language that elevates us, not demean us. It's in all of us from now on, because now we have to learn. We are masters. It's us who we allow the other ones to become masters. Then we ask 7 billion of us from 200 idiots to sign a piece of paper that we free ourselves from what we put in there to free us.
May I explain something?
Please explain, but understand the language I'm asking to speak.
Yes, this is exactly what I want to explain.
Please.
So the part of the process that we are walking as a destiny is also purifying the words, purifying the vocabulary. That means that we check our words and see if our definitions of our words that we have accepted within ourselves is aligned with the dictionary. Because during our education, during our upbringing, we have integrated emotional reactions, judgments within the words. So when we hear certain words, instead of understanding the universal definition of the word, we emotionally react because we have emotional attachment of something, some event that we have experienced in our life. So if we want to be in peace, we also need to purify our words, so that regardless of a word that one is using, we are able to remain emotionally stable.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments?
There's Camille in the chats asking, please give the substitute word for the word forgiveness that you're thinking of that elevates.
The word forgiveness does not exist in my vocabulary. The word giving exists. We call it love. Do you ever go and say, forgive me for loving you? Forgive me for giving whatever you want from me to you? There are certain words is built and emphasized in all languages for subconsciously demeaning the man. And this is one of them. And the beauty of it is they've used it in the holy books. And I use it as a joke many times. I say, how do we know the God is a man? And I say as a joke, it says in 99 attributes of the God in the Quran that God is forgiving. Have you ever seen a woman forgives? So God must be a man. But in fact, in the names of God shows all the weaknesses that the man has to accept. Otherwise, he's not a man and there is somebody better than him. God has one name and one attribute. He's a lover. There is no other name for creator except the lover.
May I suggest some alternative work?
I think we leave you with it. If there are any other people who would like to contribute anything to this discussion.
Okay.
Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge.
You're welcome.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Here is Thomas from Switzerland. Sorry for disturbing you earlier. I had no audio. I have prepared a short presentation, but it's not directly related to the peace blueprints, but it contains something you have been looking for a long time. Would you like to see it?
What is it about?
We only have a few minutes left in the broadcast today, so maybe it might be more appropriate.
We have a time bracket of about 5 minutes because our time limit goes within that time. You can bring it in tomorrow, and please send it to Rick to see, because after the saga we had yesterday, we are monitoring everything very clearly and closely. Those who we do not know, we try to sort out exactly who they are and the way they come in. And please send it to Rick. Let the team in the background see it, what you prepared. We make sure
Oh, yes,
there are no.
with pleasure.
Thank you very much. You understand, it's protecting the foundation from the hand of misconducts and abuse. So a lot of you who put your hands up, you see Rick does not call you upon, is we have to know who you are. We've seen a couple of people registering on the new names coming in, and our security people and the servers are watching. So you have to understand, we protect heavily. We knew we had to show how the other people operate, but we elevate their souls. That's all we can do. That's who they are. That's how they confirm they exist. So do not get bothered if Rick today has been holding people back or whatever. We had a management meeting, and a management meeting, as Rick is one of the director of management of the Keshe Foundation, we discussed it, and this is what we're going to approach it. Next 30 days, we give everyone opportunity to speak as far as they don't abuse. But we saw specifically people coming in that felt very clever. We have our ways to handle it, but as we said, we handle with respect. These are the people who have created mayhem for themselves, and we have to leave it to them. We've seen them. There are 4 or 5 people have hijacked the whole internet, and in the next few days you will see summonses issued against Mr. Lorenz heavily for millions of dollars of damages across Europe. Slander and accusation, what is put across the internet, now we respond. We are waiting, the lawyers will respond heavily, and we ask for certain criminal actions against this kind of behavior. What is written is beyond belief, and the lawmakers are very aware of it. We will shut these things down, but by themselves. You have to understand, we protect the foundation, but we let them hanging themselves. We ask, and we are going directly for what it is there, and in every country we take action against Mr. Lorenz and the people. Everything has been recorded. And let him be free man. He says, I'm still free. You are free because you have a king behind you who's like your abuser. But we elevate your soul. And as I said, we start bringing people from Belgium who've been abused for people to understand the level of abuse in this nation. Then you understand why people like Mr. Lorenz exist and the rest of it. I enjoyed today. We shared knowledge today. And let us bring one thing together. Let us bring humanity together. That every one of us as listener becomes a president, a king, an ambassador, an emperor of our own soul. And with it, we are all kings, emperor, and ambassadors. Thank you very much for today.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That comes to a close the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity for Day 3 afternoon session for Tuesday, July 4th, 2017. Thank you, everybody, for attending. If there's any people with leftover questions, you can bring them in for tomorrow's session. Okay, we'll end the live stream. And we'll see you folks tomorrow.